This is a rough YouTube video. I'm not sure if I'm going to post this, but inside doesn't matter. And I know that's a quote from uh, American Psycho, and it's kind of a thing used in toxic masculinity, but I genuinely mean it in terms of your life and the way you're going to live your life. I do believe that your life is supposed to impact other people, and that you're not just supposed to live for yourself, and you are supposed to live for others. You're supposed to create for others, and you're supposed to work for others. I forget where I heard it, but it's like you're constantly in service with one another. That's what the point of life is, or something like that, or how to navigate life, whatever. Anyways, inside doesn't matter when it comes to you thinking about you. I don't know the best way to explain it, but I'll explain it with like a celebrity or something, right? Or like a movie. Let's say, okay, let's take Christopher Nolan, who makes amazing movies, right? So he's made all these amazing movies, and let's use Interstellar. He's made Interstellar, and he's came up with that whole world. Obviously, he probably had help, but like, it's his original vision, and he is the center of that story, right? Like, he is the creator of that story, and it appeared here before it appeared here. Does that make sense? Like, and it's his. He knows the ins and out. He was there from the beginning of the shoot to the end of the shoot. He was there for all the editing. He was there for the awards, blah, 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 right? That destroys the perspective of watching it from an outsider's point of view. Like, you can't even imagine what that video would be like, or that movie would be like, from an outsider's perspective. Now it's like, you know that thing, the ins and outs of it, and it'll never be like oh, I'm watching a movie or I'm watching a film. Obviously, there's probably a different type of pride when you go back and watch it yourself and be like, I made this, like, this is my work. But you'll never have that outsider's perspective of, wow, this is like the best thing I've ever made. Even if you save the world, right? Okay, so this is like, now I'm taking this situation to an extreme, right? Sorry, oh my gosh. If you save the world, or if you're somebody like a war hero who sacrificed himself, obviously you're not going to know because you died, right? And you're not going to be able to transport yourself into somebody else's perspective to think about yourself for your actions. Like, you're not going to think, man, what are other people thinking of me right now after I made that sacrifice? Because you're dead and your thoughts and your consciousness is gone. So that doesn't apply. But let's say you do something in war, and or not even something, but let's say you I'm trying to think of the scenarios that you're just gonna talk about, but let's say, yeah, let's say you do something, right? Like sacrifice. Like, you sacrifice yourself. Like, what if you have to sacrifice limbs, or sacrifice a blah blah blah, like just something that is immense amount of sacrifice, and you lose something. It's not like you just lose perspective, like you like actually lose something, right? Like, you live your life for one purpose almost, and then you you still suffer. Like, you never get a payoff. Like, maybe Christopher Nolan's payoff is he gets money, he gets recognition. But what if you live a life and you don't get any payoff, and your life was just maybe pure sacrifice? Obviously, your life could have been for yourself, but if you have this mindset of living for others, then your life would have been for others. But then if other people didn't acknowledge it, then you're, in a way, it feels like you're dying a failure, or you're dying unrecognized. And obviously that's not true. There's always going to be people who recognize you, but sometimes people may never recognize you to the extent of what you sacrificed. I was on a really good thought, and now I'm going to try to remember it. But you may feel really shitty after whatever you had to do in your life. You may feel disgusting. You may feel scared, and you may just feel all the negative emotions, right? But somebody else looking at you, they might see you as strong, inspiring, charismatic. They may see you as a bunch of positives, but you are burdened with suffering and sacrifice. And this is something that I'm starting to realize as I get older, that a lot of life is sacrifice, and a lot of life is making it better for somebody else. And this is a weird analogy to make, but whenever I was younger and there was somebody drinking coffee in the room, or somebody like eating let's say coffee and donuts, right? Somebody was when I was at church when I was younger, right? Like you see all the older folks, and they're wearing their nice leather jackets, with their leather gloves or something. They got slick back hair, and they got gel in their hair. They're all nice, like masculine, whatever. And they got their coffee, and they got like a pastry, like a donut with them, right? Like growing up, seeing that, I'm like, wow, like that looks so cool. That looks so stable. I don't know how to explain it, but it looks comforting to see that. And now when I'm older and I'm having a coffee and a donut, I don't feel necessarily stable. I don't feel strong. I don't feel relaxed. I feel negative things. I'm like, first of all, I'm eating this donut that probably has 250 calories and like 30 grams of sugar, right? This coffee doesn't taste that good because it's from my Keurig. And I'm tired, and I'm cold or something, right? Like, you will never know how somebody else feels on the inside. And obviously you can use your best judgment to try to put yourself in their shoes, like how do they feel. But when it comes to physical feeling, and physical and mental, actually, you'll never know that. So it's up to you to want to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, to try to feel what they feel. So now if I see somebody drinking coffee, it's not like, wow, they look so chill, they look so strong, they look very composed is a good word to use. It's now like they're just like me. And then my interpretation of it, or my perspective of me, or my experience drinking coffee or something, is just, it's just another thing. It's not this big deal anymore. So it kind of sucks that, you know, my mindset has switched, and I can no longer experience life for the first time like a kid anymore, because I think that's a big thing. When you are a kid, a lot of these experiences are ingrained into you, and then they carry on through you as you get older, and then they shape the way you look at certain things. Like I had a friend that I worked with who said he loved construction, like construction sites when he was younger. So he would just love like seeing all the machinery work, and now he wants to go work in construction. So it's like, you know, obviously this construction isn't the best, you know, there's better jobs, but that's something he admired, and now he wants to go pursue that. So the whole thing of like leather jackets, like I remember the feeling of hugging my grandpa while he was wearing a leather jacket, and the feeling of cold leather, on like a body of mass, you know what I mean? Like that feeling of like a thick skin, you feel safe and you feel protected. So I've just been thinking about this stuff a lot when it comes to like, no, I don't want to use sacrifice. I think there's a better word to use, but it's just in service of with one another. You know, I even see rock stars, right? Or rock stars, or even just any artist, like David Cho, right? Favorite artist of all time. And I'm like, dude, he looks so cool. Like he's such an interesting guy, but that's my perspective of him. He may think of himself like shit, and he may be suffering on the inside, but his whole life is in service with his followers, or the people that like his work, and vice versa for me and my followers whenever I eventually build an audience and whatnot. But I think the biggest thing the biggest takeaway from this thought is we're more alike than we think, and we're all connected. I do believe there is evil and there are people who aren't connected, but for the majority, I do believe that everyone thinks about others in some way, shape, or form if you are a good person. And I think it's really important to want to give somebody an experience, or want to give somebody a feeling of safety, even though I may be suffering on the inside. It is my duty to provide the service of safety and humor and comfort and do all that, even if I may not be okay, and even if I may not be like feeling safe. It is my goal to do that. And it's weird too, because I'm living on a hunch that this is all real. I'm living my life on a thought, not even a thought, but like a hunch that life will continue after I die, and that people will continue to be alive and live, because my world will end and I will no longer be a thought, right? So I will no longer be anything. So it can be really scary, and even if you are a viewer watching me say this, you may be like, wow, like he's saying these words and I feel these words, but you don't know exactly how I feel on the inside. You can relate to what I'm saying, but you don't know the actual feeling of me. You don't get that. So no matter how upset I may be, it will not apply to you unless you take the responsible action to truly think, how does this person feel? And that's up to you. It's not my fault if you don't do that. It's no one's fault. It's really just, it's not even your fault. It's just a thing. And if you want to tap into that, you can. If you want to grow your consciousness, I think it's really important to think about other people more than just their shoes. Everyone says put yourself in their shoes, and I said that multiple times with this video. Think about yourself from their perspective. Not even just shoes, like what are they physically thinking of, like, or what's their like blah blah blah. Okay, sorry, I'm fucking yapping now, but anyways, that's the end of the video. Just wanted to talk about that. Okay, peace.